What have you done in your life that you don't tell anyone about? When I was 14, I broke into my father's office and burned the file that could have gotten my older brother arrested. My dad was a criminal defense attorney, cold, calculating, the kind of man who made grown men shake. He always kept everything in locked cabinets, and I was never allowed in his office alone. But that night, I waited until everyone was asleep, tiptoed downstairs, and picked the lock with a bobby pin I stole from my sister's drawer. Let me back up. My brother Caleb was the golden child, straight A's, basketball captain, our mom's favorite. But behind the scenes, he was spiraling, stealing painkillers from our neighbor's medicine cabinet, skipping school, sneaking out at night. I was the only one who saw it, not because I was a genius, but because I shared a room with him. I saw the way his hands shook, the way he stared at the ceiling like he couldn't bear being in his own head. One night I heard him sneak in through the window around 2 a.m., clothes ripped, blood on his knuckles. He dropped to the floor and just sat there breathing hard. "What happened?" I whispered. He didn't answer at first. Then he said, "I think I really messed up, man." Turns out he'd gotten into a fight with a dealer. Stupid argument over some money he owed. The guy went down hard, hit his head on the curb, didn't move. Caleb panicked and ran. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. Next morning I saw Dad pacing in the living room, phone in hand, speaking low like he didn't want anyone to hear. When I peeked around the corner, he looked up at me, just for a second, and I knew. He knew what Caleb did, but he didn't call the police. He went quiet. That's when I knew he had something on him. My dad never left things to chance. That night, I followed him. He went into his office and pulled a manila envelope from the cabinet, labeled in his handwriting, Caleb, incident. I only saw it for a second before he locked it back up. I asked him straight up at dinner, "Are you helping Caleb with something?" He didn't look up from his steak, just said, "Eat your food." That was it. That was the moment I decided I was going to destroy whatever was in that file. I waited 4 nights. I stole the keys to his office, but the cabinet was padlocked. So I Googled how to pick locks using just a bobby pin and a paperclip. It took me 6 hours to figure it out. I practiced on my closet, the garage, even the old shed out back. Finally, Friday night, they all went to a family dinner. I faked a stomach bug and stayed home. As soon as the car pulled out of the driveway, I ran to his office. My hands were trembling so bad I kept dropping the damn bobby pin. It took me 27 minutes, but I got it open. Inside were 6 files. I pulled them all out, heart pounding. Caleb's was the third one down. Inside, photos of the scene, notes in Dad's handwriting, witness statements, and a flash drive. I read enough to know that if anyone ever saw this, Caleb would be finished. I took the whole thing outside to the fire pit and lit it up. The paper caught fast. The flash drive melted. I stood there, watching it all turn to ash, and for a second, I felt relief, until I turned around and saw my dad standing at the sliding door. He didn't say a word. He just looked at me. Then he walked back inside. That was worse than if he'd yelled, worse than if he'd hit me. We didn't speak for 3 days. Then, Sunday morning, he walked into my room, closed the door, and sat on the bed. He said, "You made a choice, and now you've made it permanent." I didn't know what to say. I just stared at the floor. Then he said something I still think about. "You think you saved him? You didn't. You just delayed it." He walked out. That was the last real conversation we ever had. Caleb, he cleaned up for a while, got sober, got a job, even started going to therapy. I thought maybe I'd actually helped him. But 2 years later, he relapsed, got high, crashed into a stop sign, and broke a kid's leg. This time, there was no hiding it. He got arrested, did 8 months in county, and came out different. Quieter, sadder, but maybe finally real. Now he works construction. Goes to NA twice a week. He doesn't know what I did. I never told him. I still don't talk to my dad. Last I heard, he retired and moved to Arizona. Sometimes I think about writing him a letter, but then I remember the look on his face that night. The quiet fury. Like I destroyed something sacred. What I did wasn't heroic. It wasn't brave. It was just a desperate kid trying to protect the only person who'd ever really looked out for him. Some nights, I still dream about that file burning. I can smell the paper, feel the heat on my face, and sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing, or if I just helped someone I loved delay their reckoning. Either way, no one knows. Not even Caleb. And I think that's how it'll stay.